I brought something to read to you before I get into my sharing too much. But I'll open with some of the progressions that we're in and some of the things that we're moving toward. We are in the spiritual theme right now of building pivots. That's where we are right now. And come September, we shift into full service. You'll have a year of full service. We're in building pivots, and we're moving into full service. That begins in September. So you have a couple months to keep getting yourself in the pivoted, right? Not anchored, pivoted. That's for your prophetic part. For all of you who have high in prophecy. Never anchor your prophetic part. Just give it a pivot point. This is important because I'm sure by now you can see we have this magic window that's going to be here for a couple years of transition and change. I've been talking about this for a little bit for those of you who know me, but now we're starting to see aspects of it where there's build-ups of things and people trying to find themselves and where they begin and end. And so we're now in this wave and momentum to catch it. It's kind of like being in the ocean and being on a surfer. You know, when they start feeling the initial, I don't know how many of you been in the ocean with surfing at all, but when you're in the ocean, there's this point where you can start initially feeling the pull when the wave is starting to come. And so then you start getting ready. And then there's this next moment where the pull starts to slack. It starts to get less pull. And that's the point where you start paddling. And then all of a sudden, the energy picks up from behind you, and you have to paddle faster. And then before you know it, you can feel it right up on top of you, and you paddle faster. And then your pace and the pace of the wave match. And you stop paddling. And you hop up on the board. And you surf. And if you're good at it, you actually start working with that wave. Everybody got that feeling and picture? But I need to do my 50%. I need to pay attention. I need to know when to paddle. Know when to paddle faster so that I can be on that wave. Doesn't take much, really. Initially, it's kind of look like a wet dog. But then when you get used to it, it's actually pretty neat. It's very easy. You can do more with less effort. I'm bringing that up because we are in that series of waves. It's all one big wave, but it's a series of waves. Right? The ocean never does just one wave. When you go to the beach, seem to be using a lot of beach analogies here. I guess we better all go to the beach. Right? It comes in sets. Right? 3 big, 2 small, 3 big, 2 small, 3 big, 2 small, or 2 big, 5 small, 2 big, 5 small. There's a rhythm to it. So that's what we're in. You're going to see waves. And then it'll settle down. And then you'll see another wave. And then it'll settle down. All you have to do is know when to catch the wave. That's an energy thing. I'm using that metaphor. Bottom line of what I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to grow spiritually and pass on what you've got. That's what it means. And there's no mistake, there's no accident that you're here at this time on planet Earth. We have a lot of people on planet Earth right now. somebody knows something. Right? We got a lot of people on planet Earth. These souls instinctively know something. We're here to be a part of something. So you've chosen well. Everything up to this point, you've chosen well. Whether you've had the ups or downs, goods or bads, you've chosen well. So what the college is doing for all of us, for me, for you, is we're starting to put together 24-hour-a-day lectures. And then we're going to hand it to you, the files, so you can put it on your own websites. That's the stick man. All of you know what the stick man looks like? Little halo stick man. Going to jump around and do the lecture. That way it's neutral. And we're also going to have the opportunity to have online subscriptions, right? Where people can kind of take a half step and go through a series of kind of a second night program online and some versions of group work home study mix. They can interact with people on social media. Those are half steps, mini steps. The real step is when they get in front of you, because that's what they need. So this is what's coming. This is what we're a part of. More and more tools in your lap. The college has shifted its commission structure so that you now maintain all the commission for community programs. In other words, you do the program, you keep the money. All this is being done for a reason. It's because now is the time for the spiritual entrepreneur, the pioneer in you. You have to let that out. So the pioneer, if I'm going to have pioneers around me, then I need to have a system that supports pioneers. And that's why we've shifted that commission structure. That's why we keep handing more things over. Right? So there's plenty more where that came from. And we're looking to implement all of that on or before the end of the year. So we're ready, in full service. But those are just pieces, little pieces. The big piece is really people, you, the opportunity. Right? So I'm going to read something here. Some of you know this. It was written specifically for a time, a period of time, but the majority of it stands on its own. I'll probably pull out the stuff that talks about the specific date because the majority of it stands. I'll read it. You have come with a purpose and a thrust. Wherever you go, your thrust is going to be the vehicle for you to channel your energy and efforts. That is the opportunity you have chosen for yourself. Your thrust creates the security and fulfillment that you, as a way shower, display to your apprentices, to the world. Your purpose and thrust is like a dream, a desire that comes alive each time you share your unique message and strengthens the people in your life. It is a building feeling, like the expansion you feel at the ocean or looking at the night sky. Your message is like the stars that give direction to sailors. in the great ocean of life. This is what your message feels like to the searchers who are awaiting you. The difference we make for ourselves and others is measured not in what we see, but in how we feel. Fulfillment is a feeling of fullness, of accomplishment and satisfaction. It is an air of optimism that there is hope and that things can get better, and we are the ones to make it so. As with all spiritual values, people don't want to be taken care of. They are looking for a way to do for themselves. This is where you have the training and experience to make the difference. Putting into the hands of others the basic mechanics of spiritual tools and techniques is what will make a lasting change and a positive difference in their spiritual life. In our business dealings, we are either part of the solution or we are part of the pollution. In our personal spiritual life, if we are not part of the personal solution, then we are part of the confusion. That is probably the cleanest message for us to be in full service I've seen in a while. There is one other area that I do want to share about, and that is freedom. My name is Tiger Coll. My purpose is to free people spiritually. I help people gather their energy so that they can fulfill their life's purpose. Your purpose is to free yourself and people. Case of beer. Your purpose is to free yourself and people. The question is how free do you want to be? Because it can be scary to the old habits, to people around you, when you start becoming free. When you step beyond your old habits, it can feel insecure. I miss my blocks. I was sharing with a leader a little while back, and we were having this is the great thing about coming together with people of like mind. You don't have to dilly-dally with chit-chat. You can just get into it and start talking about deep, rich chocolate. Right? Kind of a funny story about that too, but that's not the one I'm about to get into. The story is, I came in, put my bags in their home, We went to the kitchen, got a beer, because we're spiritual. Yeah. Sat on the couch, had 2 sips of the beer, and launched into it. He asked me how I was doing spiritually, how I was doing with my guidance. This was the conversation. Not the weather, not how's your house. He asked me how I was spiritually. So we dug in. And I got a blockage counseling in that next 5 minutes. So I then felt like it was my turn. So I said, "How you doing?" Right? I'm doing okay. I'd seen his Facebook posts, so I knew how he was doing. I see yours too, by the way. I said, "Why is it you're posting X, this thing that you keep seeing being posted? It's very political, it's very, you know a lot. To me, it feels like you're feeding the beast." And he said, "Yes, well, I have a reason for that. It's because my lifestyle, and I don't want people to infringe on me." And I said, "I know that's why you did it. Because you have a specific lifestyle and you don't want infringement on that lifestyle, so you're pushing back to make sure that nobody infringes on you. I accept that. But you know too much. You know that it's going to be here after you're dead. And it's been here for thousands of years. What are you playing with?" This was the conversation. This is 10 minutes in. You know what he said to me? He said, "I know, Tiger. But if I let that go, I'm not sure who I'll be. I don't know if I'm ready for that much freedom." Now that's a goddamn honest conversation. So a friend of mine once said that we don't have to have anything. The value of what we have is coming together in this room. People of like mind who know how to cleanse and care about their spiritual life coming together. If you don't know the value of that, then you're part of the pollution. You're part of the confusion. This is everything right here. You are in a place where people respect you and your growth. They may not follow you down the same path, but they honor and respect you, and that's everything. Are you ready for your freedom? We used to have some pins years ago. It said, "I am the greatest." We'd wear these pins. It was a gimmick to get people to ask, and then we would tell them about the lecture, and right? Maybe we should have the ones that say, "I'm free."
So are you.
My point being is, if I'm going to be loyal to myself, or if I want to help my other churches, help my other loyalties, then I need to make sure that I have that clear. If I don't have that loyalty to self, if I'm not working on that releasing limiting ideas, then what's happening is I'm taking all the fancy techniques that I'm learning through life and I'm using them to cover up my fear. And your apprentices will know that. Instead of attracting your apprentices, you'll end up attracting people who want the cover-up. You understand what I mean by that? Like attracts like. Someone shared with me that, Tiger, I don't expect you to be perfect. What I'd like to see is the perfection of you living your purpose. And the inference was, go make some mistakes. Right? So how free do you want to be? How free are you ready to be? Are you ready to free others to live their life? Because that takes some courage. If you're used to holding on to people, the ideas of things, it can be scary to let certain things go. So how free are you willing to be? This is important because when I moved from building pivots to full service, I don't want to hold myself back. The Astra Soul program, part of its purpose was to help people get over the fear of death or separation. Because they knew that if you had any fear of separation or death, you would hold back. You would hold back when you share with people. You would hold back when it's time to let people go. You would hold back when it's sharing spiritually. It's not a conscious thing, it's an unconscious thing. Because inside me, I'm a little bit pent up. If I'm relaxed and at peace inside, I just give. You understand? Get a feeling for what I'm talking about? So that's freedom. This is my second favorite saying, and one I've been told I say too much. The bank robber has clear motives. Why do they have clear motives? They know what they want. They know where to get it, and they're going to go get it. It may not be the most positive thing to go do, but the motives are clear. If I'm tied up inside, if I'm wrestling with bad habits, I'm going to have unclear motives. That's how it works. But if my motives are clear, I can work through any block. I can inspire anyone to work through their blocks. Because I'm an example of freedom, of peace. I mean, this organization, Inner Peace Movement International. Peace. Most people cannot imagine what it's like to live life without suffering a little bit. Can you imagine a life lived without suffering or fear? What would your life be if every day you woke up and you started living without fear or suffering? What would that be like? What would your relationships be like? What would it be like at your job? The people who want you to take care of them. What would it be like when you talk to your apprentices? Something to consider when we move into full service. We work on ourselves because that's our opportunity here. And that's what primes and preps us to be able to share with someone else. Because you're working on yourself, you're cleansing yourself, you are the example. You're the way shower. Right? So then the rest is just, how much energy do you want? How much can you handle? Anytime you feel fear, I have a friend of mine. Instead of asking, what's the fear? Maybe you should be asking, who's that? Who's that? Because I think by now you've done enough work to know who you are, where you came from, and where you're going. 1,000 years from now, if you ever get into a bind, if you ever feel the imposition on you, you can go back and say 1,000 years from now, you're not going to have the politics. You're not going to have the wall. You're not even going to have some of the people you're familiar with. The treasure, the cars. The only thing you'll have is what you've pulled together for yourself through experience. That's your spiritual real estate. You can let go of a lot just by asking yourself that question. And then you will be living based on your needs first. You'll be living based on your needs first rather than your wants first. Have all the wants you want. They're important. Have 10. Have 100. Have them all. But remember what we share. They're all a means to an end. So enjoy them while you got them. Okay, so I have one last one. This is a funny story. I have an aunt who everybody said that she was going to die first, and now she's survived them all. And she's alive. She's a visionary. She's probably the one they modeled the visionary gift on in the Red Book. Right? I'm exaggerating a little bit. But she's a visionary. One day, I came to her house, knocked on the door. She opened the door. Tiger, come on in, bring your bag. Already she was in charge. Put your bag there. Sensitive people know when someone's giving direction. She goes, you want something to drink? I said, well, I could. How about some water? Okay. Got some water. Put it in front of me. Have a seat. She sat down. She said, how you doing? I'm not exaggerating the time passing here. This is, how you doing? I suppose pretty good. She says, are you working with your guidance? I said, yeah. Are you sure? Now I'm defensive. Yeah, I think pretty good. That's a smooth way to say, leave me alone. She said, you know, started staring at me. What are you doing with number 5? I said, what? Number 5. And then it kind of clicked. Oh, you mean my number 5 angel? Number 5 is trying to communicate with you and you're not listening. Why aren't you listening? So I start burying myself in my water. She didn't stop staring. She said, if you're not going to listen, they're going to move away. So now I feel emotional and guilty. And she looks at me some more. I think she looked down at the cloth for a moment just to give me a pause and looked back up at me. And she said, it's time to listen to number 5. So what do you do in that manner? Okay. And then she goes, glad we had this talk. My heart's pounding. I'm about to cry. She did that to me one other time as well. But the point of the story I wanted to tell you is because, to me, that's you. To me, that story is about you, the person who was talking to me. Someone who's sincere about someone they care about. A fellow spiritual leader. A fellow journeyer. A fellow searcher. She cared. She cares. Or another way to say that is she gave a shit. She cared enough to invest her time with someone to go that deep in less than 7 minutes. That was from the door to the water to the seat, and then she left. To me, that's someone who knows what they've come to do. And they're not going to waste the opportunity. They say opportunity is bald. Heard that before? Opportunity is bald. You know what bald is? What's bald?
No hair.
No hair. So as opportunity walks by, there's nothing to grab. It's gone. You need to wait for the next one. Some people have time to waste. I have this sneaking suspicion that you don't. Right? But that's what when I'm with you, particularly for those of you who have stood up to be a part of things, when I'm with you, that's what I see. Right? Someone who's sincere. So, how free do you want to be? So let's try something. Close your eyes. And let's say the following. My purpose is to free myself and people spiritually. My purpose is to free myself and people spiritually. My purpose is to free myself and people spiritually. Come on back. You don't have to worry about your angels or God or whatever it is out there telling you to go do something you're afraid to do. Know what the hell you want to do, and you will be in alignment. Know what you need to do, and you will be in alignment. They will put people in your path. The more pure you get, the more pounds of energy will come through. And if you make a mistake, ask for forgiveness, not permission. How free are you willing to be? If you're willing to go there and take the next step for yourself, not the next 50 steps, the next step, then you are going to be of full service helping people, helping yourself. Full service. Completely free to be of full service to yourself. Free to bring them in, free to let them go. How about this one? Free to have fun. How is it that one person can walk into a situation, walk through it, and I walk right behind him and through the same situation, and I get all bent out of shape? That person is more free in that situation than me. Not to compare, it's just facts. It tells me I need to work in that area. But being able to be masterful with my energy, you masterful with your energy, is being able to move through all of your situations with greater and greater ease. Full service. Don't do it for out there. Don't do it for God. Don't do it for your flag. Don't do it for your kids. Don't do it for your partner. You do it for yourself. In case of an emergency, put your own mask on first before you assist others. God provides this yellow mask. All you got to do is put the goddamn thing on yourself, and there's no limit to how many people you can help. If you don't put your own mask on first, you're going out. And worse, among your peers, among your friends, among your loved ones, and among your spiritual leaders, you will become a liability, an obstacle that they have to move around. And then if you find a weak one, now they have to sacrifice and take off their mask to try to save you. I guess we'll find out how long they can hold their breath. Wouldn't it be better if we all just put on our own masks? Take care of ourselves? You can feed the world if you have a full belly. You're not going to feed many people if your belly's empty. How free are you willing to be? Full service. Bottom line, if you come away from this and I never see you again, if something should happen to me and I don't see you except for on the astral plane, how free are you willing to be? Because if you're willing to take a mini step, a half step, then you are part of the solution by default. You are part of the solution. If you cloak your concepts that are working against you in cool techniques and fancy cloth, it won't be long till that confusion sneaks up. And because you're a powerful spiritual person, they get fed twice. How free are you willing to be? Something to consider. You're going to have more opportunity to be of full service and be open to receive full service. That's what we're moving into. Accept it. Everything that's here will be here. The politics, the money, the concepts, the relationships, they're all going to be here. You're not going to lose anything. It's kind of like I say before, just take those concepts that are working against you and let them go for a little while. If you feel that lonely, you can always pick it back up. Trust me, it'll be here. Gravity will keep it here. Heavy thoughts stays here. Light thoughts, light heart, float. How free do you want to be? Well, let's all cleanse. Why don't we take 30 seconds on Zoom, in the room, and just ask your guidance to give you some insights on how free you can be. All right, team. Enjoy. Have fun. Stay out of trouble. Or don't use my name.
Or don't get caught.
Don't get caught.